Hello, and you're all very welcome along to Season 5, Episode 19 of Champ.ie's podcast, Ireland's premier horse racing podcast in association with Boylesports, Gowran Park Racecourse and Syndicates Racing. Coming up on this week's show, Barry speaks to special guest Daryl Jacob about star chaser Fabiolo and recent Grade 1 success aboard Readin Tommy Wrong. As the cold snap continues, the lads look ahead to 5 key races at Navan this Saturday, as well as giving their best bets for this weekend.
As the stable companions come up the hill, 200 yards to go, racing on from Lecky Watson and then Fat Fox at Seed Atlantic and Readin Tommy Wrong, who's not done with on the outside. They got less than 100 yards to go. Il Atlantic, Readin Tommy Wrong is going to line the Lawlors of Naas Grade 1 novice. Readin Tommy Wrong has got up to be Il Atlantic, Lecky Watson in third.
If you haven't already, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the Champ.ie YouTube channel, as it helps to get horse racing content out there to the wider audience. We look forward to reading all your weekend #5cast selections in the comments below. Sit back, relax and enjoy the show.
Boylesports. Don't just bet, choose wisely.
Hello, you're all very welcome along to episode 19 of Champ.ie. It's been a chilly old week and there's been lots of racing that has fallen by the wayside, and we now know that Ascot has been one of those big meetings that has gone on Saturday. But still, this week on Champ.ie, we're going to look ahead and concentrate on 5 races from Navan this weekend, and we're going to have hopefully find you some winners, which is the main aim of the game. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment with your 5cast selections, and of course look at those races. They are of course the 120 at Navan, the listed contest at 155, the 230 contest, the handicap hurdle, and also the beginner's chase at 305, and the 342 is a handicap chase. There are 5 races. Our very special guest this week, Barry, has caught up with Daryl Jacob, and he'll be giving a very insightful interview later on the show. Ronan Groome of the Irish Field is, as always, is with us, and we're delighted to welcome the man back after the gelding operation, Barry Doyle. Barry, all going well? Any difference in how you're feeling? All well?
All well, David. I have the cheek pieces ready, I think, for Thyestes Day, and 7 entered up as well for the, of course, the Galmai hurdle. We'll talk a little bit briefly about maybe what to expect. And of course, we've a fabulous preview, Thyestes preview night, if you like, with loads of local special guests. We're delving right down into the depths of the southeast of Ireland for this big preview on Tuesday night. So we're looking forward to that. And of course, we will be revealing, David, full details on that over the course of the weekend. So stay tuned over on social media.
Yes, and as we mentioned, Ronan, of course, we've lost Ascot on Saturday, which is a shame. But look, these are the joys of the weather and the cold spell that we have. Of the other racing that hopefully, fingers crossed, will get the green light, what is standing out for you over the weekend?
Well, just before I go on, you might hear a few office sounds here, like printers and stuff going off. I'm in the Irish Field Towers here, lads, so you'll have to excuse me for the next
it's all part of it.
Half an hour or so, but that's a nice little atmosphere in the background, I suppose. Yeah, look. Yeah, it's a pity the big races off. Obviously, with John Bon and Fabiolo, it probably gives both trainers an excuse that they don't have to run now. And I doubt Fabiolo will go over if it is moved to Cheltenham. I think they basically said they wouldn't travel twice, or obviously they're not travelled over. They know far enough in advance now, so maybe they will still look at that race. But who knows? Maybe the Dublin Racing Festival might be a better option for him now. So. But back home, I suppose we're going to get stuck into Navan for the 5cast, and obviously on Sunday, like there's plenty to look forward to there. Allaho, French Dynamite in the race that used to be well known as the Kinloch Bray. I suppose it's the Horse and Jockey Hotel now. It's a Grade 2 contest, but there's Envoy Allen's entered there as well. I presume only one of them will run, but whatever way that's shaping up, I think it'll be a good classy race, so something to look forward to on Sunday. And there's good competitive action at Navan as well, so I'm looking forward to getting stuck into that. I've done the preview for that already for our paper, so I'm well versed on the card.
Excellent. So you're going to have plenty of winners for you. Barry, obviously, you know, you've mentioned about Gowran. We're getting ever closer. It's hard to believe that it's just now a week out to the Thyestes Day. And as you've mentioned, there's early entries out, of course, for some of the big races. And one in particular, I believe, is very much catching your eye.
Well, I have to say, I've been waiting almost for 2 years, David, for the Devil's Coachman to run into Galway. I think it could be absolutely the ideal race. We did flag it up on the Monday show, of course, the Road to Cheltenham Challenge. We do a tracker horse section. I thought he ran very well, ran with great credit last time behind Sir Gerhard at Punchestown, and was stepping up in trip, I thought, up to that 3 mile distance in Gowran Park on really testing ground, likely to be really soft ground next week. And I just thought race conditions could suit him. We've 7 entered in the Galmoy Hurdle, of course, next week at Gowran Park. Ashdale Bob, Beacon Edge, Farouk Deland, Monkfish is in there, Natural Luck, Somerville Boy, and the Devil's Coachman. So I'd be interested to see when Boylesports do go live with their prices there, what sort of price that the Devil's Coachman will be. But for me, he'll be high on the list next week. We'll catch up with Daryl Jacob as well, of course. The Munirs have two very lively players you'd have to feel in the Thyestes chase, James de Burley being one, and it'll be interesting to see does Bron get declared as well. So I think they have a good hand in there, so we could see Daryl Jacob in Gowran Park. But back to this weekend, David, I thought it was a couple of younger horses catching the eye for me this weekend, and we will come on to the 5 races, but we're guaranteed racing provided the thaw comes, which is expected at Navan. So it's likely that we probably will have racing in the County Meath venue. I was interested in Say to Chance in the bumper. They like this horse quite a bit. He runs in the bumper. A race won by It's For Me last year in the Munir Silks in the double green. So he'll be facing off against Trim Castle. I'm sure Ronan Groome will love the name of that one. In the bumper. So Say to Chance by Ellen Park, not the most fashionable sire, but I reckon this horse could be a lively player, perhaps for something like a champion bumper. Only by night, she's doubly entered at Linkfield and at Haydock. Haydock's probably going to struggle. Linkfield's on Sunday, she's entered up there as well at 12:40. I'll have high hopes that she can run well once again. Stay unbeaten over hurdles for Gavin Cromwell. I think she could be a live one for the Mayor's Naas hurdle. But
right, well, that's very interesting, and looking forward to seeing those runners over the weekend. Right, let's kick off because we're going to start off with the 2.5 mile maiden hurdle. It's the 120 Ronan on Saturday at Navan. What have you come down on here, and what do you like in the race?
It's a decent little heat. It's better than the first race, which is quite interesting as well. But you've got a couple of nice horses here. Henry de Bromhead's Killaney King. My trump card's a horse a lot of people had on their kind of horses to follow list at the start of the season. And I suppose Dr. Eggman there for Willie Mullins. Now, presumably the jockey's been jocked up here now. Presumably when Naas got called off, Paul Townend will probably come back and be jocked up on one of the Willie Mullins one. We don't know that now. I think people might be quick to write off my trump card after his run at Fairyhouse, but he might have just been beaten by a better horse that day, a horse called I Will Be Bay. The pair of them came 38 lengths clear. My trump card did plenty wrong now. He probably didn't jump as well as he can, and maybe he was just in front a bit too early, etc. He was well held on the day, but I wouldn't give up on him in that. His bumper form is really good, and especially around Navan as well. And he's just caught the eye. Just gives the impression that he's a horse there's a lot more to give. I suppose you can say the same for Killaney King. Like, he jumped left at the last day down in Punchestown. He was second to a horse called Blizzard of Oz for Willie Mullins and the double green connections as well. There wasn't much in it now, and he fought back towards the end of the race. The pair of them came a little bit clear. I'd say he'd come on for that plenty. But I think my trump card, obviously we don't have prices yet, but I think he might just be a little bit underrated, or people might just be quick enough to give up, or not give up on him, but just downgrade him for that first effort over hurdles. But I think he's a bit better than that, and he could see an improved performance here, and I think he'll go close. And
for you, Barry, what do you like in it?
Well, I was just looking at the tissue prices. That's obviously what we're working at the moment. And I thought Fenway Park was interesting. When we could Keith Donoghue on the show earlier on in the season, we asked him for one to follow for the year. And he did say that this Fenway Park was a nice horse. And he thought he was progressing as well nicely and training well at home. So he finished second to Quay the Bourbon. He progressed nicely from run 1 to run 2. He was stepping up in trip last time, obviously, at Naas. I thought he was held up midfield, David, and sort of jumped his way into contention, came to challenge coming to the last. And I thought he travelled up nicely, hands and heels really off the back of the last. He kind of put down a little bit at the last, didn't jump at the most fluent, but it was a tender enough ride, shall we say. I think this horse is progressing. I think stepping up and tripping another furlong here is definitely going to suit. He won't mind the likely soft to heavy ground conditions. And what I like the way he progressed from run 1 to 2, as I said. And I think my trump card, Ronan has mentioned him being one of the hype horses this year so far. I get his bumper form looks solid. He was fourth in a maiden hurdle at Navan over this exact same distance last year. But for me, he wants about 5 mile, let alone 2 mile 4. I just think he's takes an age to get going. Now, you wouldn't want him running you down off the back of the last because he does stay strongly. But for me, Fenway Park, if you were getting anything like 8-1 in the opening show, I thought he looked interesting, this 5-year-old son of Molinas. So I think, Keith Donoghue was a couple of nice rides on the Navan card, and I think this could get him off to a flyer.
And Ronan, we move on to the second of the races at Navan. That's a listed handicap hurdle, and not a bad entry for this, I thought.
Yeah, geez. I think it's actually a bit disappointing, Dave, compared to recent years. Usually this spills out now, but it's not. It's only 12 runners this year. I mean, I remember back in the very man to win this a couple of seasons ago and got a great kick out of it. HMSC horse won it last year. It's usually a very competitive race, and there's about, you get 18 runners, and it's only 12 this year. And it's basically it's a bit of a rerun from the Tara handicap hurdle, which was actually probably a stronger race than this. So I could see people fancying Harvard Guy here too. I was all over Lord Erskine that day, and he travelled up real nice, Lord Erskine. I'm pretty sure he's well handicapped over hurdles still, despite the fact he's 11. But Harvard Guy I think he won a bit snug that day. He kicked on. Mark Walsh always looked happy, and his last 2 wins have come over the course and distance, so he'll probably go off favourite. But the one I think it could just flag him down here is this Catch the Beast for Eddie Colley. We probably need to be talking to our old friend Basil there, Tommy Coyle, because Eddie Colley's having a fantastic year. He's had 8 winners already. He's on track for his best ever season. And this Catch the Beast absolutely bolted up at Punchestown the last day. It was a typical Colley touch. Went in there off 105, well backed into favourite, and absolutely scooted home. Now he's up £17. I get that's obviously a negative, but with as you said, the handbrake well and truly off now in a good race, I'd say he could be a bit better still than his mark. He's obviously only a 6-year-old. He's lightly raced. I'd say he is the big danger to Harvard Guy, and with Harvard Guy likely to be favoured, I'd be very surprised if he wasn't. He would seem to me as a good value alternative or something to take him on with if you didn't want to take the price with the favourites. So I'll go with him. Catch the Beast.
Catch the Beast for Ronan. Barry?
Well, best bet of the weekend. Catch the Beast. I have to say, I was very, very impressive. Very, very impressed, should I say, with how he done it at Punchestown on just the second start in a handicap. And I think he'll struggle to see an easier gamble landed. He looked the winner from the moment they jumped off. He was, sitting handy in third or fourth the whole way. Travelled beautifully. Seemed to relish the heavy ground conditions at Punchestown, and made an absolute mockery of his mark. And just looking at the race as a whole, it is definitely between the two. Harvard Guy is going in the right direction. Eddie Harty has a real decent record in the race. I think he's won it twice out of the last 4 seasons. But in terms of Catch the Beast, but Desire at the moment as well, Walk in the Park. We've given Walk in the Park plenty of chat up on the last couple of podcasts. But yeah, no, I just thought he was very, very impressive. And it was a right touch landed as well by a yard, as Ronan said. It certainly is going from strength to strength. I think he could have got 33-1. Certainly saw 25-1, but it was backed all the way in to 5-2, Catch the Beast. I didn't quite get double figures, but I definitely latched on at single figures. And
you had the word, Basil, did you?
I think Catch the Beast, third one in a handicap, could be very unexposed. And I wouldn't be surprised if you saw this horse, competing in handicaps in around the mid-30s, 130s. So, that would be my play and best bet of the weekend.
I wouldn't be surprised if you got close to the double figures, though, because 2 days later you changed the car. So there was obviously, you either had enough down or you definitely got the 2 figures. But anyway, you're not going to tell us the truth on that one way or the other. Yeah, it does look between the two, and you can the guys have made a really good case. Right, on to the third race we're going to look at of the 5 this weekend. It's the 2:30, and this again, Ronan, is another 2.5 mile handicap hurdle.
Dave, it's a rinse and repeat job for me here. I'm going back to the boy Colley again. Sean O'Keefe booked up on his chosen diamond. This is an interesting horse. I think he could be well handicapped. He's 11 pounds lower than he is over fences, and he's had 3 runs this season, all over fences. He won at Naas first time out, won well enough. Unseated rider at Clonmel, and he was 4th last day over 3 miles at Punchestown. Now, just look at his last few runs, or his only runs over 3 miles. He's been well beaten all times over that distance. I think he needs to come back a bit in trip, which he does here. He's running over 2.5 miles, and he's running back over hurdles where he's 11 pounds lower. So in a race that, look, if you look at the rest of them, like, you're scrambling there a bit just to find ones with a bit of form, or ones that, you know, might have a bit of scope to progress off their marks, or might be better than their marks. Don't think you could say with confidence many of them are better than what their current marks are. Buddy O'Brien is there for Patrick McGee. Won at the course the last day and ran okay then at Naas recently. He should go well, I suppose. Probably one of the more solid ones. But of the ones, he just stuck out now as one that's, you could say with a bit of confidence that going well enough off his mark, and he's in reasonable form coming back to this trip. It just could be another Collie special here. I know he likes winning at his local tracks as well, Eddie. So I could see him going really well. So he'll do for me the chosen diamond.
Yeah, Barry, how would you see the race playing out?
It's not a strong fancy, David. It's not a race that I'm going to have a massive strong opinion in, but I like Clonbury Bridge. I mentioned Keith Donoghue. I thought he's a nice book of rides on the day. And what's interesting, he's 100% record at the course, Clonbury Bridge. Does not seem to be very much obvious pace in the race. And I think that might just suit Clonbury Bridge. He likes to be ridden forward. On the tissue prices, you're seeing 8-1. I thought, you know, for an each way bet, he's going to be up there in the van over this sort of trip. He's only 8 years of age as well. Clonbury Bridge, 8-1. If you're getting that sort of price, I thought it was more than fair. Keith Donoghue on board, but not a massive strong fancy.
Right, all we got to say to you is to don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment with your own 5-cast selections this week. And we have, of course, the 5 races just displaying on screens for you. And, of course, big thanks as well to our sponsors, Gowran Park, Boylesports, our betting partner, and Syndicates Racing. And, of course, next Tuesday, not forgetting, we're going to have that great preview to the Thyestes Day. Right, time for us to take an ad break, and we'll be back in just a moment. Gowran Park Racecourse, the premier racetrack in the southeast of Ireland, is located on the outskirts of Kilkenny City. Gowran is your number one choice for corporate days out, stag and hen party events, and an overall great local racing experience. Known as the race that stops the county, the famous Goffs Thyestes Chase 2024 takes place on Thursday the 25th of January.
In the finish of the Goffs Thyestes, invitation only, and Ruby Walsh on the near side for Willie Mullins' 7th win of the race. Invitation only has beaten Outfitters Open.
With packed crowds expected once again this January, you can book your early bird tickets online today. Visit gowranpark.ie online, click the link in the Champ.ie podcast video description, or scan the QR code on screen to purchase right now. Eddie and the team look forward to welcoming you all to Gowran Park Racecourse this winter.
Justified favouritism, but sharp object out in front, we're ready for John McConnell and Alex Harvey.
Western victory, silver last. That'll be the finishing order.
Right, welcome back. Well, earlier in the week, Barry caught up with Daryl Jacob, of course, who was successful at Naas last Friday on Readin Tommy Wrong for the Willie Mullins Yard, winning the Lawlors of Naas in fine style. Let's see what Daryl Jacob, what insight he has for us ahead of the weekend. And I'm sure there's going to be a couple of nice golden nuggets in here. Let's see what he's got to say.
So delighted to be joined by Daryl Jacob on the Champ.ie podcast once again. Of course, Daryl, you're flying it at the moment, so with over 40% strike rate in the last 2 weeks and a grade 1 in the bag with Readin Tommy Wrong.
Yeah, morning Barry. Look at things are going great at the moment. The horses are running very, very well, and look, I'm very grateful, and I appreciate the opportunities that have been given at the moment, and it's lovely to pop home to Ireland and ride some of these lovely horses that are just going from strength to strength, aren't they? They're at the right age now. We're quite excited about the future of Double Green.
Absolutely, and I suppose I was going to say about this looks, well, to me anyway, Daryl, from the outside in, looks probably one of the strongest teams of horses that I can remember. Certainly, you mentioned the Double Green. Give us an insight as to how, I suppose, the team operates to make all this happen.
Sure, obviously there's, Anthony Bromley, I feel is the best in the business, and he obviously buys the majority of Simon and Isaac's horses, and he's a very, very good race planner as well, but he buys a nice stamp of a horse, whether it be 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 6-year-olds. He buys a really, really nice quality of horse, and Simon and Isaac and Anthony placed to different trainers, and I'm just very fortunate and very, very lucky to play a small part of that, and I get to sit on my home and ride them out at home and get a feel for all of these horses at home, and give them the feedback that they want and how the horses are going and how they're performing, and if they need another year or whether they're ready to rock on with this year. And it's a big, massive team effort by everyone. Everyone knows their role. Everyone plays their part, and the most important thing is everyone trusts each other and what they're doing and what we're trying to achieve. We all want to achieve, the same thing together, the same goals, the same results. And we all trust each other and trust each other and what part they play in the operation.
Talk us through, I suppose, the Lawlor's and Ace Star. You were on board. It was a big success for the team and yourself. Thoughts on the performance itself?
I was absolutely delighted. I thought it was a monumental performance by the horse. We went off. I had a lovely position when I got down to start. I was following Patrick. I thought Patrick was going to go forward and make it. Patrick made a couple of little mistakes early doors. We went a good gallop for the first mile. Patrick made a couple of few little mistakes. I was behind him, so that shuffled me back, and I was probably on plan Z by the time I got to the second hurdle. But I was a little bit novice over the first couple of hurdles myself, so I couldn't really afford to push the buttons too early on him, and I found a nice pocket there, and I got my horse into a nice rhythm, and I could feel that, when we went down to the back straight, I could feel the horse getting growing in confidence under me. He started to travel better, he started to jump better, and I think the penny really was just starting to drop on him. And he's a very lightly inexperienced horse. He only won a small race down at Cork the time beforehand, and like you say, when he came into the home straight, I had a lovely slit there at the back of 3 out that myself and Rachel were going for it. And fair play to the horse. He didn't shirk away from the challenge. He got me into a pocket. And then I just had a lovely run through following Paul. And I wanted to have one go at Paul's horse because I knew Paul's horse was a very, very good horse. And if I could beat him, I could beat him. But lucky enough, my horse, it took everything from my horse to really outstay him. I thought Paul was very, very clever on his horse from the front. I thought he got it absolutely spot on, but I was just very, very lucky. I had a willing partner that just slightly probably just outstayed Paul's horse just that little bit better.
Yeah, super. And going forward, I suppose, obviously, 2 of the last 5 winners of the Lawlor's and Ace, obviously a very good trial for the Ballymore. 2 of the last 5 winners went on to win the Ballymore Novice at the Cheltenham Festival. Do you see that being the obvious target at this point in time?
I think so. I mean, obviously, I'm going to, that's Simon, Isaac, Anthony's, Willie, and Paul's decision at the end of the day, where they want to go and what they want to do. But from my horse, he's a hugely exciting horse. I think whenever the time comes, whenever he steps up to 3 miles and goes chasing, I think that's when you're going to see the real, him at his absolute powers or at his absolute best. I still think he's got an awful lot to learn throughout the job, and like you say, he's a hugely exciting horse for Simon and Isaac and Anthony going forward.
Yes, another one. And speaking of the Ballymore, because obviously last year's winner Impere Pass so impressive last season at Cheltenham, and I suppose he stepped up into open company now. Do you think he can reverse the form with Stateman potentially at the Dublin Racing Festival?
It's going to be very, very difficult to. I mean, you look at Stateman's form; it's just incredible, isn't he? He's the cream of the cream. He's obviously the only horse that he's ever beaten was Constitution Hill. He's going to be. Stateman's going to be very, very hard to beat. I had a plan in my head going out the other day, and I still could beat him. And I thought Stateman was on top, well on top after the last. I think my horse will have to improve an awful lot to beat Stateman. But anything can happen. It's a horse race at the end of the day, and anything can happen. So they say you should never be afraid of one horse, but I think Stateman is a very, very good horse, and I think he would probably have to underperform realistically if I was to beat him. But my horse is a young horse too. He is improving. It was a good race. It was his first real taste outside of with speed, jumping outside of novice company. So I still think my horse will keep improving as the season goes ahead, as the season goes on. So there's hope. There's always hope, and we've got a lovely year to look forward to whenever he goes chasing as well.
Yeah, well, that was my next question. Like, do you see his future eventually lying over fences in Perry Pass?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's a chaser all over. I mean, he's a beautiful, big, strong, powerful horse with a lovely stride. And I think again a bit like Readin Tommy Wrong. I think chasing's going to be the making of him. Speaking
of chasing, and speaking of probably the most exciting 2-mile chaser in the division at the moment, obviously you won a Grade 1, and El Fabiolo is the horse we're talking about. Obviously, weather permitting this weekend, we'll see what happens there. But he looks like some tank, doesn't he, Darren?
He's an absolute monster. Obviously, I've ridden him an awful lot at home in this homework that started last year, started this year. He's definitely by far. I think he's definitely improved this year from last year. He's a bigger, got a bigger girth, more depth to him again this year, which I didn't think it could possibly happen, but he has. And I think the more racing he gets again this year, the more relaxed he's going to be. I thought he was, I thought the field that he beat down in Cork, I know he was long odds on, but I thought that was very, very impressive the way he won that race down at Cork. And it's going to be a really, really exciting rematch between John Bon and him on Saturday if it goes ahead. But I think we're going to struggle with the racing this weekend, if I'm being totally honest with you. It was very, very cold here last night. My mistake, I was riding out Nicky Henderson's there this morning. And I've been up to Kempton galloping horses there this morning, and it's still -2 there when I was leaving Kempton this morning. So London is very, very cold at the moment. I hope it, for everyone's sake, I hope it goes ahead, but I think we might be struggling.
You rode him obviously last year in the Grade 1 at Leopardstown. What do you think are our biggest attributes? What do you think are his biggest strengths?
He can travel at whatever speed that you want to go at. He's got a big stride. I think he can handle pretty much most grounds, and I know people flag his jumping, but for a very, very big horse, the more jumping he gets into, the better he's going to get. And I still thought the mistake that he made at Leopardstown with me and got away with it, only very, very good horses get away with that. And he brushed, I think it was the last fence or the second last fence with Paul the last day as well. And to get away with them mistakes and still stand up and not really lose much momentum it just goes to show the caliber and the strength and the power that this horse, and that's what I think is his biggest attributes, is his strength and his power that he has.
At Navan, Daryl, this weekend, obviously, Say to Chance entered up, declared actually in the bumper in the double green colour. Say to Chance, a point-to-point winner, and declaring the bumper at Navan on Saturday.
Yeah, he's a really, really nice horse. A horse that we really like. His homework and all that has been really good. We're very, very happy with him and how he's progressed since coming in since July. We're very, very happy with him. Again, it's he's one from one, but again, it's a different thing doing it on the track. So we're really looking forward to seeing him coming out and see what he can do the weekend.
Yeah, super. Obviously, the Champ.ie podcast there this season have teamed up, or probably in association with Gowran Park Racecourse. The Goffs Thyestes chase, always a massive day in the southeast of Ireland. And in the double green this year, James de Burle, he's currently the market favourite, and Braun has also entered. The team look to have, they look to be well represented.
Yeah, it's a great day, Gowran, that, isn't it? It's a very, very special day in the Irish calendar, isn't it? It's a very, very prestigious race. I love coming back. I love coming back for that meeting whenever I get the opportunity. So hopefully I'll be back there. They're entered up again. I'm not 100% sure whether they are taking up them engagements or not. But obviously James Burley, I rode him the last time. I thought he ran a great race at Leopardstown over the Christmas period. I was very, very happy with him. He's definitely making all the right signs. He's going forward. He's coming on. He's improving with every run. So hopefully there's a big handicap in him before the end of the season. He's been tried at the highest level, hasn't he? I mean, he was third in the Stayers at Munchstown a few years ago in the Stayers hurdle, wasn't he? A few years ago. He's a very, very good horse. He came over across from France with a very good record. And maybe some it just hasn't quite worked out the way we possibly had a plan for him to work out. But in saying that, he's still a very, very good horse, and I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty sure before the end of the season, there's going to be a big handicap in him.
Couple more, Daryl, just before we do let you go. Interlotto is a juvenile that put in a nice performance at Leopardstown over Christmas. Do you think he can develop into something like a Triumph Hurdle contender?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. I mean, it was a nice race at Leopardstown when I won on him. The ground is obviously very soft. He got better. The thing I liked about him is the longer the race went, or the more the race went on, the better he felt underneath me. So that's always a real good sign. Is when you're riding an inexperienced or a juvenile like that, you want them to, the more the race goes along, you want them to be improving with every jump and traveling better and better after every jump, rather than the other way around. So he clearly has a liking for the game. He loves jumping, and he came there going to the last, and he had his ears pricked, and he picked up really well on that sort of ground at Leopardstown. So I think he's going to go for the Dublin Racing Festival. He's going to go there. And I think that will tell us all an awful lot more of where we are with him, really.
Yeah, Bulldog also for Joseph. Looks a nice prospect, one down at Tramore.
Yeah, he won down at Tramore, didn't he? JJ, I thought JJ gave him a lovely ride down there at Tramore that day. I thought he got nice and relaxed, got him into a nice position. The horse got a little bit keen with him at one stage, but he let him roll along. Jumped very, very well. And he won. He won cozy enough in the end. I'm not sure the whole strength, depth of the form, but you can only beat there what's in front of you, and it was a pleasing performance.
Mongebello, obviously for the Crawford team, also came out and won at Christmas. That was up at Down Ryland. Obviously was placed in that listed bumper at Navan. I think she could be one potentially for that Grade 2 Mayor's bumper at the Dublin Racing Festival. Of course, Lily Burley ran a good race in it last year.
Yeah, Lily was very good, wasn't she? She won it 2 years ago, and she was second in, I think, last year, wasn't she, Lily? So I mean that race has served us well in the past, and hopefully it can do too. I think the plan is she's going to come over, or she's going to come down from it from Crawford. It was a very pleasing performance. The last thing from her, she won quite nicely, and I think she's another one. I think another summer's break is going to do her the world of good. Get a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, and I think in the springtime when she gets a little bit of sun on her back as well, it will help her as well. So hopefully the future is very, very bright for her.
Well, Darby, we hope to see you in Gowran Park next Thursday. It's obviously the big day to Thyestes. It'd be great to get you back to the southeast for the big day. But finally, before we do let you go, it was brilliant talking to you. Finally, for Champ.ie listeners, is there any particular young horse that maybe we haven't mentioned that you like the look of that might be worth following their career?
I suppose I'm hoping that probably I know he's won this year, but I'm hoping that he can probably keep progressing. There's a horse called Ballycoos. Hopefully he can keep progressing. Karen Funnick, I'm pretty confident he's a much better horse than what he's shown so far this year. So hopefully them two can keep progressing, and especially Karen Funnick. I'm hoping to get him into the winner's closure very, very soon.
Darryl, it was a pleasure talking to you, and like that, hope we see you in Gowran Park maybe next week.
Hopefully you enjoyed that interview with Barry and Daryl. Right, we're going to move on and look at our final two races this weekend. Ronan, I'm going to come to you again first because we've got a 3-mile beginner's chase at 3:05 at Navan.
First of all, Dave, shout out to the sponsor here, Jockey Kieran, celebrating 55 years in business. Anyone from the Navan or County Meath area will be well familiar with Jockey Kieran. Many's a young lad's gone in there and looked for a pair of football boots and then been upsold a pair of gloves and a jersey and a pair of shorts as well. So Jockey's a real institution in Navan, right in the middle of in town there. So fair play to him getting involved in a bit of sponsorship here. And he's got himself a cracking little race now. This is probably the most interesting race on the card. I'd say it's D-Day now for a couple of these, namely Manila Cocooner and Sandork again. More so Manila Cocooner. He was a bit disappointing the last day. Like, he's really good form over hurdles, finishing second to the likes of the Nice Guy, obviously. But that was a bit flat on his comeback. He was well held. He went out like a light there. Maybe it was a fitness thing and maybe he'll be much better here now. But as I said, it's a bit of a D-Day. Sandork again was kind of well put in his place, albeit in a Grade 2 Punchestown the last time. But I'd say they were a bit disappointed with that. and they've given him a bit of break. I see he's got the tongue tie on here, so maybe there's been a tiny bit of an issue there. But I'd say they're obviously hoping for a lot bigger show when he's back down into a beginner's chase. He might just have a bit on his hands here against this senior chief, Henry de Bromhead and Rachel Blackmore. I thought he was quite good first time up. Very promising run behind Gaelic Warrior. The horses that he finished among that day are pretty good, like the likes of I Know the Way You're Thinking, who went on to be third to Gaelic Warrior down in the Faheen Novice Chase there, Limerick over Christmas. So I think that's pretty good form. He's returning to a track that he won over hurdles last season. He got up to beat Lanrick. I think he needs a bit of riding, this fella now, like maybe just delivered on the line, but lots of talent there. And as I said, if he can come on from that first run, I think this track will suit him. Coming up in triple suit him as well, and he could lay down a little marker now. Could be a dark one for Cheltenham with a good performance. So he'd get the vote from me, but a very interesting race.
It is a very interesting race, Barry. And what way have you dissected this one?
Yeah, Senior Chief is interesting. Obviously, has had just the 8-1 start over fences, and Gaelic Warrior. I mean, it's no disgrace really to be beaten out the park over a trip plenty short. 2 miles, 3 furlongs on his chase start. He was beaten 18 lengths by Gaelic Warrior, but there'll be plenty of horses beaten 18 lengths by Gaelic Warrior going right-handed over 2 miles and 3 furlongs. So I thought that was a decent enough effort. As Roland mentioned, on hurdles form, he has a little bit to find. This is a completely different discipline, though. And I didn't like the way Xander Clegane jumped last time. He hasn't been seen for 56 days. The tongue strap has gone on. Rumours of wind surgery. Manila Cacooner, he's had 2 starts over fences now, and to me, he hasn't jumped well in either of them. So if this was run over hurdles, Manila Cacooner going this way around on this type of ground would be the one to be with. But we know how Henry de Bromhead horses improve for a fence. Senior Chief, I thought, was interesting, and I'm going to side with it as well here. Henry de Bromhead's Senior Chief, Rachel Blackmore on board.
Yeah, and that's the one I quite liked in the race also. Right, our final race of the 5 then is a handicap chase. This is going to be over 3 miles again. This at 3:42. And again, this is over to you, Ronan, firstly, to give us your thoughts on this one.
A difficult one now, David, because it's just, it's not for the faint-hearted. These are not very good horses, to put it mildly, but, we're down at near the basement level here, but Hutchie was the one I thought was just a little bit interesting for Stephen Carey. I think he only ran this week, actually. He was in 5th in that race that Morricone won down in Punchestown. The winner bolted up there, but he was a 25-1 shot. I assume he was coming off a 95-day break. I assume it's a bit of a pipe opener for this. And if that is the case, he ran quite well. He was 5th to 17 there. He's only beaten 14.5 lengths. And he only has 4 starts over fences. His penultimate run was actually quite a good one. He was second to Read to Return down at Killarney right at the start of the season. So he did disappoint, obviously, in Tremor in his next start. That's when he was given his break and he came back a punch. And so I just think there might be a bit of juice in his mark of 96. He has the scope to do a bit of improving. The other one I kind of looked at was St. Denis as well, but he's going to make his chase debut here. He does have good course form. He won a good competitive handicap hurdle here on Troytown Day. So that's in his favour for Ian Donoghue, and Jack Kennedy's obviously a big positive in the saddle there. But Hutchie was the one I thought was some way interesting, and albeit a very difficult race to decipher.
Right, we're going to take our final ad break of the show, and then we'll be back with the guys' best bets. And once again, don't forget, there are our 5 races for you to get involved in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment with your 5 cast selections in the section below. And the 5 races once again on screen as we head into our final ad break. Gowran Park Racecourse, the premier racetrack in the southeast of Ireland, is located on the outskirts of Kilkenny City. Gowran is your #1 choice for corporate days out, stag and hen party events, and an overall great local racing experience. Known as the race that stops the county, the famous Goffs Thyestes Chase 2024 takes place on Thursday the 25th of January.
In the finish of the Goffs Thyestes, invitation only, and Ruby Walsh on the near side for Willie Mullen's 7th win of the race. Invitation only has beaten Outfitters Opus.
With packed crowds expected once again this January, you can book your early bird tickets online today. Visit GowranPark.ie online, click the link in the Champ.ie podcast video description, or scan the QR code on screen to purchase right now. Eddie and the team look forward to welcoming you all to Gowran Park Racecourse this winter.
justified favouritism, but sharp object out in front was ready for John McConnell and Alex Harvey.
Western victory, Silver Long. That'll be the finishing order.
Yes, welcome back then to the show, and it's that time of the show where hopefully the boys will put you in the way of a few quid for the weekend. We're going to come to the best bets and nap selections all together this weekend because of the racing action. So Barry, I'm going to come to you for either your best bets or your nap pick for the weekend.
Yeah, well, I've already said it, David. Nap pick of the weekend, Catch the Beast. Thought he was very, very impressive at Punchestown on New Year's Day, but was raised £17. The other up towards the front end of the market, Harvard guy, he's been raised £12. So I think two of them are going in the right direction. It's between the two of them. Catch the Beast. I think in an A versus B scenario for me, two very progressive horses. Catch the Beast is going to be the bet of the weekend. And if you're getting anything like 4-1 on the tissue prices that we're seeing at the moment, I thought, well, I'd snap your hand off for that. So best bet, Catch the Beast, 6-year-old son of Walk in the Park. And the other one to mention, Say to Chance in the bumper. If it faces off against Trim Castle, both declared, I'll be with the Munir runner. And another one to mention as well, Phil Dore. I'm very interested to see how he gets on in the horse and jockey race on Sunday, because I think in that intermediate chasing division, it looks wide open. I mean, the likes of Allaho, for example, Stage Star, and those towards the front of the market in the Ryanair betting at the moment. A lot of people will be have their eyes on the likes of Phil Dore to see can he progress. I'd be interested to see, but Gordon's form has tailed off a little bit. He started the season so well, tailed off a little bit. But I mean, if Phil Dore turns up in his and gives his best account here in a race like this, I think he can progress over the intermediate trip.
And Ronan, your best bets and nap for this weekend?
Barry took the words out of my mouth with Phil Dore. I just wanted to put a bit of meat on the bones of the horse and jockey there. I think he is really interesting coming up on trip. I think that's the people have been waiting for him to come up on trip, and Gordon had a couple of options for him in recent months, and has decided to wait out for the 2.5 miles. So he pushed out Fabiolo quite close first time out, quite surprisingly, I suppose, to some, that he got that close to him. So definitely interested to see him. It'll be a good race. You have the Facker in there for Joseph as well. Facker de Durais, and Allaho's probably going to run. Appreciated is in there. French Dynamite will probably run. So it could be a good little marker for the Ryanair. So implore anyone to watch it and keep a close eye on it. There's a quick mention for another one at Thurles, the 210 there. You might recall they put up a horse called Coccolino there pre-Christmas for the Tim Duggan. He just got stuck in the mud probably down in Limerick, which can happen to a lot of horses in fairness. So I'd be quick to forgive him. He's probably going to end up being a cliff horse for me, but I just keep an eye on him, especially in the market as well, given the colours he carries. But go back to Navan for my nap. I'm going to go with Chosen Diamond for Eddie Cawley in the 2:30. I think for all the reasons we already stated, I think he could be well treated back over hurdles, and looking forward to seeing what they price him up as. So he'd be my best bet as of now for the weekend.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for your contribution this week. And not forgetting, of course, we're going to be back with that superb show on Tuesday. But before we tell you about that, your 5 races once again displaying on screen for the 5-cast selections this weekend. And on Tuesday, we've got a very, very special show coming your way. Do stay tuned for it. We've got lots of very, very special guests lined up to preview Gowran Park's big day on Thursday. And, of course, the race that stops a county. And don't forget, you can get 25% off the Thyestes Day early bird tickets. And we're looking forward, of course, to seeing you all on Thyestes Day, where we will be live with Champ.ie before racing, building up to all of the big action. It's been a good show. And thanks to Barry, thanks to Ronan. And don't forget, do watch out for Tuesday's show. And once again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment with your 5-cast selections. And hopefully you have a very, very successful week in punting. And from all of us here at Champ.ie, it's bye-bye.